Check, check, check. Oh, there we go. Bang, bang, boom. Here we go. I wasn't talking. There was no audio. But we're working it out as we go, and we did it. Right off the bat. I don't think too many people saw that. Only 14. So, hey. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing up early. We got a bunch of tags that we're, excited about today. Excited about the producer we're about to bring on. And, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. But we got this guy's tunes to help us through it. And a couple people have already submitted tunes. If you want yours heard by the one and only Essex, type Discord and chat, and there's a little viewer submission tab. You could leave your tune right on there. And me and Essex will get to that in a little bit. But right now, let's just get right to introducing our guest. He's waited behind the scenes long enough. All right, everyone, make some noise for Essex.
Hello.
Oh man, what a very gracious walkout from the man. How you doing tonight, Essex? Thank you for being here.
I'm doing all right. All things considered, with the society collapsing and everything.
And where are you residing right now? In a little gold bunker?
No, I'm actually. This is Huxley Anzold's studio. I'm at Space Jesus's house. Don't worry, we both got tested. I'm safe. But I just came here to work on music for a bit and get out of Brooklyn.
Okay. So you guys are working on a new EP or something, new quarantine EP, or just a couple random singles or what?
Kind of just random singles. Like, I've got an album that's pretty much finished now, but it's not coming out for a little while. So I'm just just getting by, trying to be productive, have something to do, something to work on.
I mean, hey, you seem like you're always working on something, bro, whether it be visual or audio or any kind of medium. You seem like you're really engulfed in every sort of vision.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's hard not to, like, I mean, when you enjoy what you do, it's like, it's fun. It's what I do for fun, so it's just like all I really do. Obviously, like, quarantine, I got a little down for a while and stopped working for like a week and a half just because everything felt hopeless and pointless. But now I'm kind of back at it again, just like trying to stay sane. It's the only way I know how.
You got like a new PC, a new upgrade and stuff, right? That you think that's going to affect your whole workflow?
Oh yeah, man, it already has.
Oh, it's already set up and everything?
Yeah, it's set up. I've made a couple tunes on it so far. I did a bunch of video work because it's like insane compared to my laptop. This thing, I could just like render a 30-minute video in like an hour,
Bro.
Which is like, I would have had to put my computer on like overnight to do that shit.
Bro, incredible. I used to have to do the same thing. I just upgraded to a PC too, and probably in 15 minutes before the set, I uploaded a whole new little animation that would have taken me a day and a half if I would have done it on my old computer. But
yeah, man, it's beautiful. It's like, it's crazy how when you work on music, you can like make a change and then just listen to the change you just made. Whereas with video, you like make a change and then it'll like render for 20 minutes and then you'll see it smooth, and then you can see it smoothly.
And it's so big too, they're like 20 gigabytes, 30 gigabytes of file, and you're like, bro, I got to delete this, start over again. I feel bad for all those photographers, videographers, and shit like that.
Yeah, man, shit is no joke. I can't believe I put off getting an actual like good computer for this long. I'm just like, I don't know. Even like, yeah,
it's night and day.
Desktop, let alone like everything I've done for the last like 8 years has been on a shitty laptop.
Dude, for real. And shout out to those laptops, man. They created a pretty strong, I guess, base for us.
Yeah, they did their job.
Yeah, they let us afford these PCs and upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stepping stone.
So are you doing much
really
streaming?
Expensive one.
Yeah. Are you doing much streaming?
Not really. I mean, honestly, like the set, I did like one set that I was pretty happy with, and that was sick. It was like right when shit started, so like more people were tuning in, and there was like a lot of people donated, which was awesome. But it seems like recently, like every stream I watch, it's just like less and less people every time. And I don't know. It's seeming like I also just don't want to burn through all of my new material like
Definitely.
in like 2 months, and then have everyone be like, I've seen this shit already, because it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you're traveling doing it, you can play like a bunch of the same songs in different cities and it's fine. But like when you're playing to the same group of people every time, you can only like play your new tunes out so many times before they're not even new anymore.
Yeah. I feel like that's also, feeding into the inspiration of trying to keep it fresh too, trying to like keep not get lazy in this quarantine period, we could stay on top of shit. But
Yeah,
I feel like all of our lives pretty much pre-quarantine were just the same anyway, You just lock ourselves in a room or some shit and do what we
yeah,
got
to
to
a
do.
certain extent. I think I used to be like I'm such a hermit, and now that I'm here, I'm like I guess I wasn't as much of a hermit as I thought. I kind of like didn't really appreciate the rare times I would go out and hang out with people, how important that was.
Yeah. You know what? It's because you're a rebel, and now that you're being told you can't go out, you're like, "Fuck it, I gotta go out, man."
Yeah,
I'm
now I'm like,
itching.
fuck it, it's a hoax.
It's a hoax. Oh man. So we
I'm
have.
over being in quarantine, so it's a hoax.
Yeah, no, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. The onions, those are looking more real and real every day. The onion headlines.
Yeah,
I'm believing them.
for real.
So hey guys, we got Essex on the stream. We got viewer submission coming up. We got a couple more actual viewer submission questions right now I want to get to before we get into the music. And if you want your music's heard, you want your music to be listened to by this guy right here, this good-looking fellow right here. Look at him. Look at him. Then go throw it in our Discord. You know how to get there. Look at him. He got all spiffy for you. So did I. I'm wearing a fucking suit jacket because I'm interviewing Essex. Motherfucking Essex. All right. So I don't know if people know, but a long time ago, I met you promoting your band Technicolor Lenses outside Webster Hall. I think you were promoting like the Big Up or the Big Dub or something like that.
Oh
And
yeah, it's probably the big up.
the
Yeah,
Big Up. I remember taking a
mass.
look at that picture, that flyer, and being like, I don't know anybody on here, but I bet if I looked at it now, I'd be like, holy shit, I know this guy personally. I love this dude. That music's awesome. But that's where
Yeah,
we
man,
originally
that
met.
that festival was crazy. The big up back in the day, like I heard like Tipper for the first time in like this little side barn stage, and like Ott, I think I saw him there for the first time. That's my friend Jackson who was in that band with me. It was his friends who were in this band Higher Organics. They threw the festival. It was just some kids he grew up with in Great Barrington, and that was like how I played my like I wasn't even like I was going to school for art. I had no plan on like getting into playing music, but he invited me to play guitar in his band. So I was like, all right, sure. And then like I went to the first big up, saw all those artists, and it like changed my life. That's kind of how I got into all this shit, was just through that one festival.
And where was the Big Up?
It's in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, like Western Mass.
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't sure where Great Barrington was. Great Barrington, Massachusetts. I guess that festival's not going on anymore, huh?
No, it hasn't for a few years.
Ah, ah. Well, Tipper, that's pretty big for I guess the size. That's the size of the festival. I mean, I
Yeah, their
guess.
lineup was really ahead of its time.
So, Technicolor lenses, man, is that something you guys ever thought about bringing back, or are you sprinkling back into in its own way? I know you still work with a lot of the this like B rhythms and I don't know if you work with Jackson anymore or whatnot, but
I mean, we don't really work very often together anymore, just because we all live in different places, and I don't know, just like we all kind of just went in different directions after a certain point. But I'm still friends with those guys. When I did the live band at Farm Fest, I had Brandon, the drummer from that band. He came and played with me. But I don't know. Like we're still friends. We just I don't know. After like 4 years of working on music together, things just kind of naturally took different paths.
yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, I think it's worked out very good for yourself. At the Essex project has been on a continual upward trajectory, and I think people starting to realize how talented and multifaceted you are with the whole thing. But any plans to bring
I
the
appreciate it.
hey, of course, man, dude. Seriously, I think every aspect of your art is pretty awesome and ties into its overlying story in a nice way. The Essex story. But how long
Yeah.
how long have you been doing
Uh,
art for?
I mean, I've been doing art, like I've been like, drawing and stuff my whole life, but I didn't really. I think like I was like when I was in high school, I got really into like skateboarding and rollerblading and all just kinds of extreme sports stuff. And then at a certain age, I started like getting into graffiti and stuff. And then I got in a bit of trouble for doing that. And then I kind of just like decided to play it safe and just continue to work on canvases and shit. And then I think in high school I just like worked really hard to try and go to. I had such bad grades and I just like tried so little in school that I was like art school is my only choice. So I basically was just like, all right, art's my thing now. I'm just gonna work on painting all the time. And I just focused on that really hard because I wanted to go to art school. And when I finally got into art school, I got like so overwhelmed with all the work that I mostly ended up focusing on music while I was there. And then when I graduated, it all kind of came together because I had time for both again.
What did you go to art school?
Yeah, I went to Parsons, so
Parsons.
like the new school.
Where's that?
It's like right near Union Square. It's like it's the art school that hosts what's that show with like Tim Gunn, or maybe it's not him. It's the fashion show. Like you got America's Next Top Model or something is like hosted by that school or something.
No way.
Yeah, my freshman year of college was like the foundation year before you choose your major. It was like mostly chicks that were into fashion in all of my classes.
Okay.
And then like most of them all dropped out after the first year.
So you went for what, like actual like drawing and art stuff like that?
I went for graphic design
Graphic
at
design.
first, just because I thought that was like the realistic thing to do if I wanted to like work one day. But then I just like hated it so much that I switched to illustration after my first year.
Oh shit. Okay. Damn. All right. So you find that like still come into play today, or like I mean you're mostly like watercolor, right? You're mostly like
Yeah,
actual.
yeah. I mean, like that's kind of like the artists that I like and that I follow are all illustrators. The people that inspire me are all illustrators, and the watercolor thing more came like from when I was like broke as fuck out of school, and acrylic paint costs a lot of money. So I kind of just like picked up watercolor because it was really cheap. Like I could do it on paper instead of a canvas, and it's like I kind of just developed a style through it.
Okay. No, you definitely got your own unique style. With all your artwork, it's very cohesive and stuff. Are there inspirations that you look to in that kind of sense, or you just pave your own kind of watercolor way?
Oh no, I mean I'm inspired by tons of stuff. Like I really love Pendleton Ward, who does Adventure Time. He has like a bunch of artists that I love work on that show. There's this guy Ghost Shrimp. If you look him up on Illustrator or on Instagram, he has all of his like backgrounds that he did for Adventure Time, as well as like he's done like covers for MF Doom,
Oh.
and he's done a bunch of like really good album covers. And then there's this guy Jeff Soto and Jeremy Fish were probably who I was most into in college. But like I find tons of artists every day on Instagram now. I used to really be into this magazine Juxtapose and High Fructose, and like a lot of artists I found in there really inspired me. But for the most part, I just like artists that do very cartoony styles. And there's like too many of them to even name nowadays. But I'd say the people who got me into that style were probably Jeremy Fish and Jeff Soto.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll have to check them out because your stuff, I'm definitely like, who does he look to make some of this stuff? Like I thought it's very unique. So I'm gonna have to check out some of these dudes and see what's good for myself, expand my mind a little bit in the art world.
Yeah. I would also say check out this guy Andrew McLean writes like this comic book. It's like a graphic novel, but it's mostly like it's very little dialogue. It's mostly just it's called Headlopper, and it's just like super gory but awesome like cartoony animation or illustrations that I really love.
Does he post them anywhere or like anywhere in particular, or where do we look?
Yeah, I mean you could just look up Headlopper, like one
Headlopper.
word, like he lops heads off. It's just Headlopper.
All right, I wrote it down. I slickly wrote it down over here. But
Yeah, man.
what about the name, man? Where did Essex come from? Is that just a mutilation of your last name and some things, or what?
Yeah, basically, it's just phonetically like S. Eckstein, Sam Eckstein, SX.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, because I mean, it's a street in a lot of fucking cities. You know, there is Essex counties
Yeah,
and stuff. So I don't know. Figured I'd
yeah.
ask.
I did live in Essex County when I was really young. I lived in Essex County, New Jersey as well. So I like that kind
Wow.
of played into it a little bit.
All right, so it's deep. It's got some meaning to it,
Loose, yeah,
phonetically.
loose meaning.
Yeah. All right, and a couple more viewer submission. I mean, questions before we get into the viewer submissions. But just to remind y'all, hey, Discord, put your tunes in Discord. We're gonna get to them in a couple minutes. We just got a couple more questions. One from Base 5 Star. We got a live one, and a couple more that were asked on both of our groups. You know, when I posted and told people we were gonna do this. So 5 Star says, "Do you have any cool tips you learned while working with Mr. Bill, or just in general?" Is that name?
Um, not a ton from when we worked together because that was mostly like I sent him a bunch of older songs that I was just stuck on and wasn't really moving forward with, and he kind of just like redid a bunch of sound design and like reworked the songs a ton, and then we sent it back and forth and did it like that. But I talk to him on Facebook a lot and just ask him for tips and stuff, and he's very like even just like a lot of times he films so many tutorials and stuff, and a lot of times I'll have a question and he'll be like, "Here's a link to the tutorial of it," and he's like done screen shares where he's just showed me something really quick a lot. He's very like he's a very good person to like he's very to the point and he always has like a perfect explanation or description of what you're looking for. If you're like, "Oh, why is my percussion like sounding dull or something?" He'll always have like a really quick solution that he'll give you in like 2 minutes, and it always helps. He's like the very open with his knowledge. Like he's very willing to help and share.
Yeah, he did that. He's been doing that for a long time too. I think he was one of the like pioneers in making tutorials in this kind of genre. You know.
Yeah, man. He's like where a lot of when I was starting out, a lot of the stuff that I learned was from watching his tutorials. So when I like ended up actually getting to know him and becoming friends, it was very weird because it's one of those things where you like have heard his voice talk so many times but never at you, and then you're like, "Oh shit." It's like it feels like you already know him before you actually do.
For real, he's got like a pretty comforting voice. As much as he calls you a cunt too, like it's pretty comforting.
Yeah,
You know. It's that
very
Aussie accent.
monotone.
Yeah. He's also pretty big in the streaming world too. Like so, like just watching him, just being able to tune in and see him kind of mechanically put together things, and maybe if you have a question, ask him there. It's like it's been pretty eye opening, you know, because like you said, he does have things. He just very he knows what things do. Where I feel like I'm more experimental in a certain way, you know.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think he can be very experimental, but he has like a very. I think he, at least like a lot of times when I hear him talk about his own music, he's very like critical of himself, and he like thinks a lot about like how things are going to be perceived and all this stuff. Whereas I'm a similar way where it's like I'll just try and work on a song with like literally no intention or thought in mind, and just like be like, if it's dope, it's dope. If it's not, it's not. I never really like analyze it very much. And I think
Yeah.
he's very analytical in that. He's very analytical in a way.
Yeah, almost like you know, it could be a good and a bad thing in a certain way too. You know, it could be like all of our downfall is just overthinking certain things too. You know, almost losing
Yeah,
a certain organicness to it, I guess.
yeah. I think it's like it can be beneficial, but it definitely makes it a lot less fun. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, and it blows us away, I feel like, producers and stuff, but sometimes it doesn't always translate to dance floors in a certain way, you know?
For
The
sure,
more
yeah.
technical things.
I think that's something that like I only recently even started really paying attention to is how I was gonna go over on a dance floor.
Yeah.
I think like my first few years, I was just like, people are gonna be tripped out by this, and then I would like play it out and see a bunch of people just standing there like awkwardly, and I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta rethink all of this.
It's something. It's always the tune that you're the most hyped on, too. You're like, fuck, this is going to kill. This is going to kill. And then it's like too slow or, you know, too technical or some shit, you know? It's that weird
Yeah,
middle
I think
ground.
I'm recently finding that like the technical stuff, it's only how you implement it. Like if you don't implement it correctly, you might as well be doing nothing at all. Like
Yeah.
it's
It,
it's like you can overdo it to the point where it's like you might like it just sounds like noise, you know?
yeah, exactly. It's as good as it technically is, and as much work as you put into it, sometimes it's a little too much, you know? But it's the tough thing about this. I guess, subjective. So who knows? Because even the technical shit sometimes blows people away. There's some
Yeah,
technical
I mean,
artist.
I think it's like uh, the technical stuff. It's like it's a double. Like you said before, it's kind of a double edged sword type thing where it's like it's impressive producers, but like I think one thing that's helped me a lot throughout the years is that my girlfriend is like not really she's not like a big into the scene person. Like she likes the music and stuff, but she's not like starstruck by any kind of DJs or like obsessed with anyone in like in our scene who makes our kind of music. So she has kind of like a very impartial view. And if I show her something and she's like, whatever, then I'm like, all right, yeah, it's probably not gonna go. Like it's good to have like a perspective of someone who's not as ingrained in this kind of music as everyone else.
Definitely. It's going to give you almost an unbiased opinion, you know? Maybe
Yeah,
not brutal,
exactly.
but hey, you know, you watch her, watch what she's saying, her reactions and stuff. You're like, that's not what I was going for.
Yeah,
That's
if
good.
she's like, it's good, then I'm like, all right, it sucks.
Oh man. Okay, all right. That's a good test. That's a good test. Some brutal honesty, you know. Yo, shout out to everyone that's been donating and giving bits and subs and everything like that. All the proceeds tonight is going to the ACLU, Minnesota. I don't know if I mentioned that. Shout out to Essex for also being okay with that. You know, look at this guy. He's a man of the people. So we had.
And what kind of piece of shit would I be if I said no to that?
I don't know, man. We're hungry out here too. You know. I don't know how many.
Yeah.
You said the stream donations haven't been coming in. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
You got to eat too, my man. But okay, we got two more questions, and then we'll fucking get into the music. We got a couple of tunes rolling on in. Some heavy hitters: Aptic, General Chow, Glotty, Dr. Flopper. Thank you all so much, dudes. Okay, so Essex, maybe the last question here, because we already went over how, you know, this has been affecting you, this whole Covoid situation, you know. So what is your favorite place to play, or what you're most looking to get, where are you most looking to get back to once this is all over?
Oh, I don't know, man. There's like, there's not very many places I don't like to play. I guess just like, I really love like the Midwest a lot. At least like just the crowds there go really crazy, and like California. I think California is like my favorite place to play, just where I think people vibe with me the most.
Oh shit.
Even though I'm like a very East Coast person, I guess my music just does well over on the West Coast more so.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, where in anywhere in California in particular, or just wherever you're fucking playing?
I mean, I like
Good.
San Francisco a lot and like Oakland. I would like to get back to. I mean, the place that I am pissed off that I got canceled because of this that I was dying to play was the Dark Palace in Denver.
Oh,
I haven't even played there, but I definitely want to get back. I definitely want to get back there at some point so I can at least play there once.
oh, the Meow Wolf Dark Palace thing.
Yeah, yeah. That was like a real of all the things that I was like really disappointed about getting canceled. That one really hurt the most, I think.
Damn. When was that supposed to be?
I think it was supposed to be like a few days ago or something. I don't even remember anymore. I was supposed to be at Cosmic Kingdom tomorrow. Every day I get these notifications on my phone from like a flight that I was supposed to be getting on or some shit. It's just so depressing.
Dude, we're just sitting here, fucking same old, same old. This is what we wanted too. I feel like I was always like, I want to just fucking have a month or two to just sit in, make something, and now I'm like, dude, give me a show. Give me at least one show.
Yeah, one show. The streams kind of feel the fun thing about streams is you do kind of get that adrenaline and it does kind of like fill that void a little bit,
Yo.
but it's definitely not the same.
Nah, yeah, 100%. Like the first couple streams I did, I was like, okay, all right. I was like high off life a little bit, like after we get off a set, but you know, it's definitely not, you know, the exact same feeling, I guess. I want
Yeah,
that
no,
bass.
I definitely the first one I did, I came off and I was like, I'm good, like I'm not depressed anymore. This is awesome. I feel great. And that lasted about one day, and I was like, all right, fuck.
Dude, we just got that. We're like fiends for that kind of thing now, you know? I think that's something we chase as well. That kind of adrenaline, you know, after a show or before a show, even the nerves, you know?
Yeah, man. I think it's weird. I don't think it's the reason I made music, but it's also a definitely like a hit on like the motivation. Like to a certain extent, it's like now I just work on a bunch of chiller stuff that I'm listening to at home, and like when I try to make a banger, and I'll be like, I don't even know what if this is gonna hit or not for another years. Like I'm never gonna find out if this actually hits or not.
I'm wondering if this is going to have an effect on like the kind of music we do intake, and the need for that kind of thing. Because maybe people don't want rhythm if they don't have the proper sound system for it or whatever. Maybe they're going to want the chill
for sure.
shit.
I think I still appreciate the heavier music, but it's like I'm not sitting at home in my apartment listening to that shit very often by myself.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It's very what's the word? Situational.
Yeah.
But it's good. You do have that range, especially when you break out the fucking guitar, man. You could hit someone asleep with the axe or some shit, lullaby him to sleep. Come on. Lullaby.
Yeah, I have been playing more. I have been shredding more axe lately.
Oh, let's go. Maybe we'll get a down tempo instrumental album from Essex coming up, quarantine style.
At least a couple tracks, that's for sure.
Hey, we'll take them. Whatever you got, man. Whatever you got. So yeah, let's I think we waited long enough. I'm looking in the Discord, bro, and there's a good amount of tracks in here. Keep us occupied. And
yeah, I can't log into my Discord. Just send me the files and I'll press play when you press play.
Okay, perfect, bro. First up, we actually have Dr. G who sent one in yesterday. We got Dr. G in the chat. Thank you for this hype train, yo. Going all to the ACLU. Hype train right to the ACLU. Fucking all aboard. All right, let me send this to you. We got Dr. G over here. We got Second Nature. Jack Lion, I did see was in the chat, so we could get to Jack Lion if he's here. We got Glotty too, who donated a cool 20, so we could get right into him too. But let me hit you with this track right here. We'll get right into Glotty. We'll start off with Glotty.
All right.
I'm just going to email you this track real quick. I mean, not email. Bing, bang, boom.
Chat me, bro. Chat me.
Facebook. Facebook's lagging on my computer too, man. Shit eats away CPU.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. I'm going to start it right now. Here we go. We got Glotty up
here.
All
right, hold up. I got it. Oh, here we go. Got it.
All right, let's go. We're in the studio. Base 5-star. Okay. All right. Fucking
Damn.
Glotty. Glotty. Okay. All right, nice, man. So, all right, starting us off with some heavy stuff. Essex, you got any words of maybe a word of advice or two? Maybe a little tip?
I mean, how I'm not supposed to roast anyone, right? I'm just giving polite feedback, correct?
You know what? It's whatever you feel. I don't know if it's on hell's roast the beat, but hey, man. Honest
Hey man, I'm just trying to
feedback
feel
is
out
always
the tone
appreciated.
here.
Yeah. No. A couple New York kids. It's could be needed.
No, I think it's a well produced song. It's like very, very heavy, very sick. I'd say I don't know. I think like I just have like something in me. I just don't like those like really deep, chunky like dubstep packed snares that are like boom like this. I don't know. I think like everything about it is sick, but I would like to hear it with like a more like high pitch or like a high frequency snare that cuts through a little more.
Okay. All right. Hey, dude. Good.
But other than
Solid way.
that, like it's loud as fuck. Like it sounds good. It's well produced. I think it's sick.
Yeah. The waveform looks good. The fucking the idea is there and everything. Maybe just a minor. Literally snare. I feel like is always one of the most common critiques. Literally here and every channel. It's just maybe a snare, maybe a switch up of the snare or something. But I do like the idea. I like the rest of the percussion.
I think honestly, like I think the snare's probably good too. It's just like that's a personal preference thing for me. I think like I don't really like the really highly produced sounding snares. I kind of like them to sound a little more janky personally, but that's just obviously that's a preference thing.
What do you do for your snares? You like to layer them with a couple different things, or use some Foley effects, or what's your go-tos?
Yeah, I mean, I'll usually just find a really good short transient that I think is like the punch through layer, and then I usually like EQ around that to get like some more textural stuff, and then I just squash the shit out of them, compress them together.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, someone says the perfect snare is out there somewhere, and that's a truer statement has never been made. Somewhere out there, the perfect snare sits. It lies in the EQ perfectly. But hey, Glotty Music, thank you, man. Thank you for your donation to the ACLU. Fucking rock, man. Appreciate the tune. Up next, we got General Chow. This one's called Wasteland. We got General Chow in here. Essex has my favorite snares in the game, no cap. That's
yo, shout out.
Second nature.
Whoever said that.
That's on God, second nature. That's on God.
Oh, shout out Second Nature.
Hell yeah.
I'm familiar with Second Nature.
I think we got a Second Nature tune coming up in here too, my man. My man coming up with the heat.
Nice.
All right, so right now we got General Chow, Wasteland. Let's go. And then Jack Lion. Our man Jack Lion. Ooh, vibes. Mr. General Chow, killing it. I loved the vibe. It was definitely kind of, especially in the beginning and end, definitely Essexy. I feel like it would definitely had an Essex vibe to it with the instrumentals.
Yeah, I'm usually not a fan of those like very like deserty sounding sounds, but that one I really fucked with. I think like they're one of those things that leave you a lot of space for like you know, a lot of like little micro edits and stuff. I think that song, yeah, very thought out and like a lot of dynamic stuff going on that really kept me interested throughout. I think I don't really have any again, like I think one thing, if I had to say there's one thing that I would change myself personally, I would say like I think like a little like I think there's always like room to have more unpredictable percussion layers and stuff, you know, like
Always, yeah.
some sounds that sound like they're not from the same kit, and like sounds that so, like I think just like unique percussion, especially with a song like that. There's so much room in the mix for it. I think there's like always more ways to make it more unique and stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of those like I don't want to say Middle Eastern, but like those kind of instruments and drums, you know, maybe even some like what do you call those? It's like the hand drums kind of with the shakers.
Yeah, tabla.
Yeah, tabla, exactly, bro. That's the word I was looking for. Yep. So I think, you know, it could add some of that, or maybe even some like female vocal-esque, like very dreamy kind of thing, you know. That might be a little too stereotypical of this kind of genre and whatnot, but you know, there was a room for it. It could overlay with anything on top of it perfectly. There was a lot of room for it.
Yeah, I think it's always like beneficial to like try and find something that pulls it out of like a specific. If you think it sounds like something else that inspired you, sometimes it's just good to like throw something in there that to catch you off guard, or like to make it less easy to pin it down to a genre like that, you know?
Yeah, and who knows what will actually go over that well, you know? You like you said, create the new genre. It's like, who knows what. It doesn't have to be tablas. It doesn't have to be something that sounds exactly like the rest of the genre, too. You could add fucking whatever. Throw a goddamn 3-6-9 acapella over it. See how that sounds, you know? We trying.
Or like, you know, it's always like there's always the best songs, in my opinion, are always the ones where it's like you think you know what's going to happen, and then something completely different happens. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And it still works.
No, definitely. I like that instrumental beginning to it. Had that vibe to it. It gave you like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen next?
Yeah, I think that was the strong suit of the song for me, is the fact that I thought I knew what was going to happen when it dropped, and it ended up being a little different from what I expected. And that's, I think, the most important thing.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely, man. Hey, well, I'm sure he appreciates some of those words, bro. All right, so that was excuse me. I got the wrong thing pulled up. That was General Chow. All right, so go give him a follow. Do we got more creative records in here? More creativity records. I saw you talking before, but we got a track from you guys.
Send me that link. Send me that link. I got Jack Lyon next.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I saw okay, we do have him in here. I saw Jack Lyon was in here.
But I know More Creativity Records. I met them when I was first starting out. Those guys have been very supportive over the years.
Solid peeps, dude. Solid peeps.
Yeah.
So they're managing Yums, and this is a tune from Yums off on MCR. All right. Hey, you could link us either your Aptic. Okay, word. No, I was literally, I typed in chat looking for you, bud. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to play your song without you. But hey, More Creativity, you could either link us the record labels, socials, or Yums. And we're going to get into this right now. Let's go, guys. No, you're good, Aptic. We'll get into yours right next. Here we go. Right up next. Aptic. Unnecessarily long intro, he says. Ooh wee! Had to fucking break out the goddamn the DJ bunker for that one. We had to go to the underground DJ bunker for that one. Jesus. All right, yeah.
God damn, bro.
That one. Do we even give critique on that? Something like that, bro? You know, it sounds like a polished full tune, you know?
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna be grasping at straw here, is trying to give you feedback on that because it was fire. I mean, the only thing I could think is like you could probably just like tighten it up, and make it a little shorter. Like the intro's really long. I think like the only thing you'd have to worry about is people, skipping before they get to the good part. Like that is a very real thing. Like I think it's always good to have an intro, but also not have any extra, like any unnecessary wait time to get to the, like you got to keep people's attention all the way till they get to the real meat, or else you risk people skipping it before they do, because tons of people will just skip shit. It's a sad reality.
Yeah. Wow. No, that was some of the best feedback I think we've heard. Just cut and dry. Like I never skip intros too, but you even said unnecessarily long intro, more creativity. So I just boosted ahead a little bit, just because I was like, am I hearing this right? Is this just because I wanted to make sure it's just an airy intro for 32 seconds, 36 seconds, and that's a lot of valuable time. I feel like that's where they're skipping a song, honestly, is like in the first 20 seconds they're skipping to the next one or some shit.
Yeah, I think the thing when you're producing is you think every song has to be like this epic build and all, like I think like one of the mistakes you can make when you're starting out is to think that every song has to have everything, to be like, oh, it needs this thing and it needs this thing and it needs like a great intro and all this stuff. Some songs don't. Some songs just like you gotta just like get the idea out and like you don't need necessarily like I used to just throw guitar solos into every song because I was like, that's what I do. I play guitar, and it was like, I think the biggest thing I learned was like, not every song needs a fucking guitar solo in it, or like certain like you kind of gotta have a listener's mind at a certain degree. Like you have to think outside of what your idea of what the perfect song is going to be, because not every song can be like your opus, you know.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think maybe that's where playing out has something to do with this too, in terms of where you want your music to sound and the way you want it to be perceived. Once you play it out a long time, you might feel like, oh, the long intros are good. I'm gonna have a Pink Floydy kind of vibe, and then once you fucking play that out on a dance floor, or you realize the plays aren't as much as you'd like on SoundCloud, it's kind of like, oh, maybe I should get back to the drawing board and see what works, what doesn't work. Is there a formula? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I think honestly, like even like there's two parts to that intro. I think the second half of that intro could have just been the whole intro, and it would have. Like the thing is, I just think the drop is so nice.
Yeah.
And it comes out of that intro so well that it's like I just hate the idea of someone skipping it before they get to hear the main part.
Yeah. Yeah, and it totally could be something that's just edited for live play right now. It seems like it's just like a low pass filter, a high pass filter right now, just kind of sucking up all the energy, and you're just getting a little bit of energy in this intro. So it could be just for live play right now, or I don't know. And we could just be over scrutinizing something that's not even going to make it to the final thing. But I think, shout out to Yums. He's got 700 followers on fucking SoundCloud, and I think deserves way more than that. Intro
God damn,
or not.
bro. That's like the best track I've ever heard from someone with under 1,000 followers.
Bro, just wait, dude. A couple of these people, man, it's crazy. So low. They got like 300, 400, and the tunes they've been popping in here in the Discord are nuts. So I think Aptic's one of those guys, and I think I sent you the next tune is Aptic.
Yeah, I got it up
Okay,
here.
word. So this is Aptic, Bluesy Idea. All right, we'll see. Bluesy Idea, that's different for him. All right, here we go.
All right, let's check it.
More of a mumble type of thing, but people are starting to respect you as a lyricist, as a rapper. At first, I don't think they did. They thought it was more of a mumble type of thing, but I'm starting to see the industry.
I know
not you, but I'm starting to see industry vets starting to respect you as a rapper. How does that feel?
Some shit. You're not gonna incriminate me.
So now you feel like you want to speak life. You talk about getting the money, talking about living.
Yeah,
I like that.
Hey, I knew y'all was gonna try to bring that shit up. I would curry that shit and say fuck that. I want to talk about it. But at the same time, at the same time, this is interview. But I want to see you. You know what I'm talking about? I want to spit my face.
Yeah, but you touched only one girl.
Is that the one?
I hope so.
Okay.
I feel like people don't want to see this.
Thick.
God damn, I was gonna say this one. I fucking love this song. This is great.
Bro,
The only thing that really stood out to me is that the intro is super choppy. Like there's so much sidechain that doesn't need to be going on there at all.
Oh, the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like the tune is just like the idea right now, but the idea is so goddamn good. Like the intro and outro is, if that's the only thing you need to work on, that's fire. And he even said, he was saying the intro might be unnecessarily long too. But you had a vocal sample to help guide that a little bit more, you know. But
I think the intro is cool. It's just there's just like this volume ducking that I feel like maybe it was intentional, but I just think it didn't come across as intentional. And like the drop is so sick that like I think it's also one of those things where it's like it's an easy fix. I would just take some of the volume ducking out, and then it's like the difference between the buildup and the drop is nuts. Like when it drops, it's like such a stark contrast.
yeah, no, you have no idea what's coming from that intro, you know. It's like jokey. It's what is that? It's not Hot 97. That's The Breakfast Club. Is that? No, I don't know who that is. Talking in the beginning, but dude, you said you made that today, dude. That 300 followers for Aptic. Please, let's go give him some more followers. Like this dude, what the fuck was that? Its own little genre. It definitely had its Essex vibe too, with the arpeggio. I feel like you're really good at utilizing some weird arpeggio frequencies or rates or something like that. Is that something you frequent?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like I like to, instead of using an arpeggio, I usually just like to like get the notes of the arpeggio, and then I'll just like duplicate them in the piano roll. So sometimes, you know, you can just have more control and like change one note of like one thing and make it much more like strange. But I don't know. I think it's also like the arpeggio. I think it's sometimes like if you use an arpeggiator and the way it's supposed to be used, a lot of times it just sounds repetitive. But like I think it's good to like play with it. Like there's a lot deeper stuff you can do with an arpeggiator.
Yeah, I mean, I've always got that vibe from you. I thought it was an arpeggiator, so like hearing you say you're actually going back and fucking with MIDI, it's actually making me very interested in you know, like your creative process, and maybe even me trying to do that instead of just relying on just the MIDI plugin, you know.
Yeah, I mean the fact that you can like draw notes in, it's like I like to think it's like, you know, it gives you an opportunity to do melodies and stuff that wouldn't normally be able to be done.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like cool things, you know, sometimes, especially with like sounds you're using on a weird synth sound or something, if you just throw something up and like one note up an octave, all of a sudden like the jump from a low to high note itself can be a cool sound. And like there's a lot of, I think that's like a super overlooked thing when people work on sounds. It's like sometimes just playing with the MIDI roll, like with the piano roll like that, there's so many weird things that you can do that just catch you off guard. And it's such an easy thing to do. Just highlight a note and chuck it up or down an octave.
You definitely you utilize that in a lot of your tunes. Like even just thinking like about that creative process, I'm hearing it in my head, just like some of your synths, your main synths, like you know, just like I could hear some of them in my fucking head, dude. I've played them so much and just almost tried to reverse engineer sometimes, or when I like almost accidentally make a sound like that, I'll be like, oh shit, okay, this is how he's making some things like that, you know, when you stumble upon it.
Man, a lot of the sound design stuff that I do, it's like the sound itself is not that complicated, but there's like I think a lot of like the more technical sounds, especially when you want to get them to sound good in the context of the song, it's like finding a simple thing and then doing like it's about the way it interacts with the drums and the other sounds more so than it is about the individual sound, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes it sounds like shit when you're just listening to things on solo, and then you just turn it off and you have the drums in the background. You're like, wow, that fits perfectly, bro. You know, it's like happy accents.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, hey, so did you get this Optic one?
Yeah.
All right. See. We got Optic in the chat, another fucking heavy hitter. Soul Crit, thank you for the sub. Darlin the bits, Tomos the bits. Everybody, thank you for being here. If you want to submit your tunes, throw them in our Discord. That's all you got to do. I'll link our Discord right here. And you know what? Essex needs a Nightbot chat too. I need to get him linked up. So hold on. We'll start this Optics track right now.
Oh shit! I gotta host this for my shit too. Hold on, I totally didn't even think to do that.
True. Okay, while he does that, I'm gonna get. What would you want us to promote your SoundCloud, or you want us to promote your Twitch with the little command or something? Just so that people know where to find you. You want to do your SoundCloud or your Twitch or something? Hold on, Essex. Here we go.
Let me see.
Essex.
Creator dashboard. Yeah, all my shit's just Essex Music.
Okay, perfect. Essex, we'll get your Twitch. We'll get the fucking.
All right, let's see. How do I host this shit? I just press host. I just write host dash your thing, right?
Yeah. Slash host and then space Brightside Movement. And you should be good.
Oh, slash host.
All right. There we go. Liz, thank you for the sub. Oh, she gave you a sub. There we go.
Nice.
Liz, gifting Essex.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Twitch.tv/Essex Music. All right, so if you want to keep up with Essex, you know where to find him right here. We just made a Nightbot command. We're going to listen to Optics right now. Shout out the man.
All right, let's see what we got.
Essex. There we go. Oh, I got to do spaces. Look at him. He's getting naked for us, everybody.
All right, yeah, sorry. I'm getting hot up in here.
It's becoming an OnlyFans. We're going to start getting way more tips now.
Yeah. Sub to my page.
All right. Yeah, so I just linked him. That's actually a mess of a link, so let me figure that out. But all right, here we go. We're going to start off with Optic. Let's go, baby. Shout out the man Optic. Jesus. Optic. Can you fucking get on that, please? An Optic and Brightside collab? I'd love to. Optic, you're a monster. Every week, man. Coming through with the heat. We love it.
Yeah, that was nuts. You gotta follow. I followed you on SoundCloud, Optic. That was sick.
Dude, hell yeah. Another one with 230 fucking followers, dude. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Dude, it's kind of scary, you know, in a way. We're just like, this is the future of this is insane, bro. The people who are cooking up the most heat have the least followers right now. It's gonna change.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was like, yeah, that was right up my alley. I love that melody.
I was gonna say, dude, people are coming with their like Essex inspired tunes today, and they're all look like brand new on SoundCloud too. They're all like within a couple hours ago. I feel like literally people heard that we were doing this with you, and they're like, "All right, we gotta get the arpeggiators out. We gotta get the weird stuff. Let's go."
Well, I'm fucking with him. I'm fucks with it heavy.
Dude.
It was sick.
Me too. Honestly, Optic, that was amazing. We appreciate you, man. Definitely got to get something in the works with you. That was fire. I'm gonna send him the next one. It looks like we got Space Dragon Zim. We got you in the house, Space Dragon Zim. If not, we got a couple more people I do know are in here. Jack Lyon, like I said, Elevate Music. Let me make sure. Our man Second Nature put in the right spot. Okay, I don't think he did. So we're gonna get to Second Nature too, because I know he's in here, man. I know he's in here. So here we go. We got a Second Nature tune right now. We'll get to it. Okay.
Oh wait, I don't know if I got that one.
All right,
you gotta resend me that.
Yeah. I just opened it right now. I'll send it to you right now. We'll get to him because also I didn't get to him last time. It was in the wrong little submission folder, and I found it after the stream. So we bump you up right now, man. We'll bump you up, and then we'll get Zim. Then we'll get Zim. Second Nature. Here he is. Jack Lyons up in here. All right, so we got a couple lined up. We don't even have to ask if they're in here after. Let's go. We got Second Nature. Kyle. Fuck yeah, man. Where do you want it? Are we going in the smoke box for this one? Are we going in the underground DJ bunker? Where should we play it, Kyle? Dr. G, I was asking for you, brother. Kyle. Okay. All right. A whole journey there. A whole freaking journey. You had organs. You had wubs. What didn't you have? In terms of maybe some feedback, nothing on the intro, nothing on the mix master side. Maybe before, Essex, if he has any, I would say just maybe like a chant or two, like a little, maybe some more human element in there. Especially maybe like towards like the end of the drop, even if it's just to give it a little more of a like a chant or a breath or something, I don't know. That's what I always find.
I think it sounds. I think it all sounds good. The only thing I would say is that low note in the first drop, the very low note. You're hitting some risky territory there, because that's the kind of thing that like it's not going to get picked up on a lot of platforms that people are going to listen to it on. Like maybe on like a really nice big system, you can reach those low notes, but like usually anything underneath an E on like a big, unless it's like a really fire system, it's not going to come through, which is like fine, but I think it's just something to be aware of. Like I think a good trick to get around that is you can take the sub note and bring it up an octave, so it'll probably sound a little high in MIDI, but it'll come through the sub though at least a little better, and then you can take the high frequency of it, or like the mid-range growl, and keep that where it is. But if you take the sub, I think the sub kind of ducks out when it gets that low.
Oh shit. Okay. So were you having problems hearing that on headphones or anything like that, or is that just because it's been tried and tested? You just know this.
Oh, it's tried and tested. I mean, you can get some D's to show up, like some D notes to show up on like some bigger subs, but it's like a lot of like if you're listening on like a home system or like your headphones, a lot of times those low subs are not going to come through. But that being said, I mean, it was compressed really heavily, so I could hear the sub note coming through. But I think when it gets that low too, the sound wave becomes so wide that it kind of becomes almost like textural. It's not really giving like the thump that you would expect from a sub bass. It's more of like a low growly type thing. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but I think it works in this song. I would just say it's a risky move going that low.
I think I've experienced some of the same things sometimes too. Hearing it on my system, it sounds good, and then when I play it out on some systems, it would just be like a kind of thing, like a, not even inaudible. It'll almost be like just like competing with other frequencies. But I don't know if that's this certain frequency you're talking about. But he said he's in the mix down stage of this right now, so I don't know if that's like a pseudo master he's got on it right now, maybe hitting the limiter compressor or whatever. But I think it's a pretty good mix, to say the least.
Yeah, I thought the drums sounded great. The snare really cut through nicely. Everything else about it I think was great. I'm just trying to find stuff to say to like critique people at this point, because like I'm literally like a lot of these songs I'm just like, damn, this is sick. Like
yeah.
I don't want that to be my response to every song.
Bro, it's a tough job we got, having to find something wrong or find something to critique with these. It's almost like asking us to do what's not there. Sometimes it's all subjective anyway. Even the advice that we do give, it's not set in stone. It's this is from one person to the next person too, so take it all with a grain of salt. Essex likes my snare.
I mean, and like I'm sure like even if I didn't like it, there's tons of songs out there that I don't like that I'm sure would probably do great. Like my approval doesn't necessarily mean much.
Very true. Well, I'm glad a lot of these have been up to par today. These been great fucking submissions so far. We got Zim up next, and then we're gonna get back to Flopper. We saved Dr. G Flopper, so we got Mr. Zim up next. I believe I just sent that to Essex, and yeah. Let me try. Serum. Okay.
Wait, I don't see Zim.
Oh, okay.
You gotta resend me Zim.
Resending Zim right now. Okay, here we go. There we go. Right there.
Got it.
Okay. All right, Zim CT fam. Hell yeah, man. Let's go. CT fam in the house. East Coast. Might have to hit the smoke box for this one.
Seemed to be a sudden general explosion.
Whoops, I was still hitting the bong. My apologies. Was still hitting the bong when the tune ended. And we're good now. Yo. Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, I was on. I was still hitting the bong when that tune ended, so I had to hurry back to the studio, get us back to the studio, so that we could all get in here and critique on the music. Zim, that was dope, man. There was a couple things that I don't know if it's my ears tripping me out or something, but there was I feel like there was a compressor in there getting triggered by something. Not necessarily the drums either, but if it was the drums, it was too much maybe. So maybe just tone back on it sounded like there was it was percussion on the rim shots or something. It sounded like there was compression ducking things out from the rim shots, but it kind of didn't fit the vibe, fit the whole structure of the song, and the sound worked, but I don't know if the compression did. It just sounded like it was ducking too much out of it. Yeah, I don't know if there was sidechain or something in there. Did you hear something like that, or you got any critiques on this one?
I'd say the main thing that I noticed was, I know the rim shots you're talking about. To me, it wasn't a compression thing as much as it was the rim shots kind of were playing the role of a hi-hat, at least in their pattern, and it was almost cutting through the mix more so than the snare was, which is I think the snare and the kick. Also, I think the kick and the snare, both sounds, they kind of sat really close together in the frequency spectrum, and it's almost like your snare and your kick should play different roles. and they kind of felt like they were playing the same role. There was like some moments there where I thought it sounded kind of like the kick and the snare. I heard a snare layered over a kick, which is it can be problematic for your headroom when you're going to squash it down. I think I'd say like yeah, I think the snare could have a little more highs, like it could cut through the mix a little more because it felt almost like a second kick to a certain degree, and I think there were certain percussion sounds like that rim shot that cut through the mix more so than the snare did, and I think the snare should always be the thing that cuts through the mix the most, unless it's at least for like this kind of style of song.
No, I 100% agree. I think it's like goes snare, kick, and then everything else, the bass and the synths and everything. But I 100% agree. There was like some conflicting frequencies there, and I find myself doing that sometimes too. I'll just have a fucking kick on the wrong place. I'm like, how did that even end up there? Why is it on the 3 or some shit? But
yeah, I think you can have your snare layer with your kick, but if you do that, for that one instance of it happening, at least you should cut all of the low frequencies out of your snare, because you'll hear those mid ranges coming through in your kick, and by overlapping them together, all you're doing is creating a huge spike in your final product, which is when you go to master it, which ultimately is going to lead to you putting a limiter and squashing it. All that's going to do is just make the rest of your track sound quieter.
Yeah. No, just all you got to do is take it down. Just dig it down a little bit. Look what I'm doing. See, mix it like this. Bing, bang, boom. Just bring these notches down.
You got it.
But yeah. Do you usually take out all the low ends in your snares? I just do that naturally, even when they're not like competing. But do you do that or no?
Not really. I think for snares at least, like I only really take out, like I try not to over process snares too much. Like only if there's a really like harsh thing that's kind of like hurting my ears when I play it really loud, then I'll like bring that down a little bit. But for the most part, I think like when I make a snare, I think like if I over analyze it too much, it can affect it in a negative way. It's like sometimes you just have to trust what your original thought was when you made the sound.
Yeah. And just sometimes those rules are just made to be broken. You hear that all the time. Oh, the low, cut off everything, cut off all the mids. I mean the lows on everything that's not a bass, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes those natural low ends do sound good on something like a snare.
Yeah, I mean, I think like most snares, at least like most snares shouldn't go below 100 hertz anyway. And I mean, I kind of do it a different way where it's like my kicks. I usually make my kicks very bass centric, so it's like a lot of my kicks don't have a lot of mid range or like high frequencies in them, so it kind of like helps to let the snare cut through a little better. But that's more of like a stylistic choice. I think there's a lot of people that use really punchy kicks that like cut through the mix really hard on all frequency bands, and that's not really my style. But that's just like a stylistic choice. But in my opinion, I like the snare to be the really high thing and the kick to be the really low thing,
Yeah, definitely. And I've talked to you maybe like at a show, and you're like, all I did for this track was put a limiter on it for and bump it 6 decibels. So your mixes are just inherently, I think, just good. And that's you may say it's stylistic choice, but it's worked out for this style of music. I think everyone is like following suit of those kind of general guidelines too. Just.
Yeah, I think like when, especially like in the mixing process, sometimes I'll just throw the limiter on while I'm working, and I'll turn it off to I mix really low. Like I'll like the first track of a song when I start it, I'll like automatically put it at negative 12 decibels just so there's only room to build, and like I think like a lot of times, sometimes I'll just throw the master on, like the master self-master chain or a limiter on it, because like I know that's what it's going to sound like when it's finished. And then when it's time to mix it down, I'll turn the limiter off and then go back and make sure nothing's like ridiculously loud, because a lot of that shit, like there'll just be a hi-hat in there that's like 12 decibels too loud and you didn't hear it because it's just getting completely squashed by the limiter anyway.
Yeah. No, all right. Hey man, so I'm taking note over here, dude. I'm freaking taking mental note at least. These are quality tips, man. I appreciate you coming on here and dropping some gold for us. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff I think is like very I think just like people should watch more of like Mr. Bill's tutorials and stuff, because a lot of this shit is just stuff I learned from watching that. And like, I think there's what is it, like the Dunbar principle, where it's like when you know something, you kind of automatically assume that everyone knows it already off the bat. And sometimes it's like, it's crazy to like hear how dope some of the music that I hear is, that I'm like, oh, and they didn't even know a lot of this shit. And it's like, I feel like it would save a lot of people a lot of time if they just watched like just committed the time to watch like a bunch of Mr. Bill tutorials and just like.
And then that opens up a whole nother wormhole, though. Then you get too technical. I don't know, man. It's like, it's weird. There's like that middle ground, that beginner where it's just like you're just doing it based off of like instinct almost, and then you get to the technical.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of things where it's like once you learn a rule, all of a sudden you have a new rule you have to follow, and that can kill a certain level of creativity. But there's certain stuff that is that's more of like it's good to know the rules in order to break them the right way.
That's true. Once you do know them, you could like, all right, skirt around them a little bit, and then that makes your own style, I guess.
Yeah, it's good to learn the rules and then say fuck the rules. I think it's what I'm trying to say.
That's gonna go on my tombstone. That's what it's gonna be. Learn the rules, fuck the rules. All right, so hey, we got Dr. G Flopper. This was one of the first submissions that we got, but he wasn't here, so now we're circling back. We're circling back. Did you get this one?
Yep,
Okay.
Flopper.
Yep. Yes, sir. Dr. G,
Got it.
link us your SoundCloud, dude. Here we go. Dr. G. He's a freaking mod on our channel. Dr. G. Go give him a follow. Go give the man a follow. Last week you had a tune that was waiting on vocals. Is that something you plan on doing with this one as well? Is it waiting for vocals? Because it looks like a fucking brick. Must be mastered. But
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think the first thing I noticed is that it's probably limited like a solid 6 decibels louder than it needs to be. There's no dynamics really in the mix at all. It is kind of just like a flat brick. I like the concept though. And I always love like very video gamey sounds. But yeah, I mean, also the kick is very it's very spread. I think the kick could be more tightened up by either like low passing it a little bit and then maybe compressing it a little bit, and then bringing that mid-rangey bass sound could come down like a lot, and the hi-hats could come down a lot. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a snare in the song either. I think it was like it was a hi-hat where the snare would normally be on the 3. I think it's hard to say what I heard as too loud, because a lot of when you master something like that and you limit it so hard, it kind of brings everything closer together. It makes all those quieter sounds louder and the louder sounds quieter. So it's hard for me to even really tell any specific mixing advice, because it's just like, I think I would just say whatever limiter you have on the master, I would bring it down by like until you can actually see some peaks and valleys in the waveform a little bit.
that's true. Especially with this kind of music, it's good. I mean, it's always good for loud. Loudness is not a bad thing, but for this type of music too, you can afford to have some dynamics in there. No one's gonna hold it against you that it's not the loudest track, the biggest waveform or whatever. But yeah, even visually, you could like see where maybe it could use a little bit of just like a lighten up a little bit. It could maybe use a little bit less of the kicks or none of the kicks, none of the drums for just a quick bar or two. Just tease elements of the tune in and out. If it's going to be five minutes, use some of the elements sparingly maybe. But I think you got the idea. You said they're waiting for vocals too, so I mean, I'm sure that's gonna take up a lot of room in the mix as well.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, the idea that it needs to be really loud is like a kind of it can hurt more than it can help, because a lot of times a song being too quiet is a little better than having a song that's too compressed, because when it's quiet you can still turn it up, but once it's overly compressed like that, there's no really going back from that once it's released.
Wow, that's true, man. The loudness war, it gets us, bro.
Yeah, the loudness wars. It's not a good thing, but like the part of like doing like some research on like mixing techniques and just finding the right frequency, like having every frequency band well thought out. It's part of that is to get it to sound loud without it actually being that loud. Like if you listen to a Tipper track and then you compare it to like a song where you're like squashing the fuck out of it to get it to be as loud, like you really notice like his songs. It's like the reason his songs are so loud is because everything is kind of fit into each other like puzzle pieces, where it's like the thing that's supposed to be loud in that moment is loud in that moment, and then it makes room for other things. It's like you can't like layer a bunch. Like if you layer all this stuff over each other, you kind of have to accept that it's going to be either a little quieter or it's going to start getting muddy when you get to that loudness level.
I think that's what makes him such a fucking anomaly, such a crazy like person to gawk over as a producer, because you're just like, the sound design is one thing, but then the way it's how loud it is and how technical that dude is, it was way before its years,
For sure. I think that's kind of like it's like the loudness. It's more of a thing, I think. it's a thing that like you appreciate in the moment, like the moment that you hear it and you're like, oh, this is loud. But like if you want a song to grow on you, the clarity of all the different layers, like the clarity of everything is more important. That's what gives it re-listenability. Like
Very
it makes you
true.
want to listen to it over and over again and like hear all the different things that are happening. But when
Yeah.
you squash it, it makes it harder to decipher the different things that are happening.
Golden advice. Listen to this guy. All right. Hey, so we'll get right into the next track because this guy, dude, we got to start paying him more for this, more by the hour for this kind of advice. All right. So Jack Lyon is up next, man. I just saw him in chat, so we don't even got to ask. Jack Lyon,
All right,
here we
got
go.
it.
What? Some late night shit. Hold on. Everybody make some noise for our band. We got the band in the house. Live band. Excuse the mess. Oh my god. All right, Jack Lyon. I don't know, man. Is there critique to be given on something like that? Like that's own style.
Y'all can't hear you, bro.
Oh, okay. I'm on mute with you. I think they can
Oh,
hear
gotcha.
us. Damn. All right. So is there critique to be given on something like that? I feel like it had his own style. I loved the band in the middle. Like it got classical.
Yeah, I think it's a great song. I think if I had to give it some critical feedback, I'd say there's certain. I think like a lot of those bass sounds were so nuts. I think you could focus on like the stereo spread because I feel like everything felt really spread. And I think sometimes like just taking a few elements and just monoing them can really like accentuate that more. Whereas I felt like there was so much information in the stereo spread that it was like almost like it was hard to make out and differentiate each individual sound. Like that's another big mixing thing, is that like the spread of the stereo spread is it's like its own like, you have to make things fit within each other frequency wise, but also stereo wise. Sometimes if everything's spread to the certain extent, it will it kind of, things can get drowned out as well, which I thought, like, there was so much information in that song. You know, I think only the snare was the thing it sounded like only the snare was monoed, which I thought the snare was a good snare too. I really like that snare. I think you could bring the snare up like probably like 4 decibels or something, and bring some of those mid-range bass sounds, some of the mid-frequency bass sounds down a little bit to let the snare cut through. But also I think that would possibly just be attained by monoing a few more of them, and maybe even spreading the snare instead of a lot of the basses.
What do you use for monoing, if you don't mind me asking? Do you use just a regular utility in Ableton or something, or what's your preferred method?
Yeah, I usually use Ableton's utility, but when you hit mono on that, it actually, Proco taught me this, and it's a very subtle difference, but like the mono button isn't actually like true mono. If you want to be true mono, there's a little drop down menu that says left, right, stereo, and if you set it to left, that's like a true mono signal.
Oh, okay. So it's just the basic plugins then. You're not using anything specific to make. Are you doing anything after and like in the mix downs the stage to widen it, or is it just utility all around?
If I'm widening a sound, then I'll use like a filter delay.
Okay.
And I usually like will turn the middle. I'll turn the middle filter off, so it's just the left and right, and then have like instead of having it set to like beats, you set it to times, and you'll have one be like 1 millisecond, and then the other one be like 8 milliseconds, and that just basically, because all really stereo spread is a delay between the right and the left speaker. So really anything that does that, there's tons of tools that do it easily, but that's really what you're doing, is you're just setting a delay between the left and the right.
You know what? I think when I was hanging out with Magnetic one time, when he had me out in I think the Mousetrap I played over there, we were in his like little studio, and he was showing me something on the, it's not frequency delay. Is it stereo delay? What's the Ableton built-in audio device?
Filter delay?
Filter delay. Yeah, is that that's what you're using? I think
yeah,
he said
yeah.
I think he said you showed me that. You showed him that. And I've been thinking about that ever since.
The last time I played the Mousetrap, whenever I play the Mousetrap, he'll like take me to breakfast the next day, and then I'll go over to his house, hang out with him and his kids, and like I'll show him a couple Ableton tricks. It's been a while. It's been a while though.
Oh, he's a good dude. I saw him in chat before. Adam's a good dude, man. He's got the good family.
Yeah,
and everything.
Very nice guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, no, for real, fire. And I've been thinking about that. He told me that you taught him that, so I've been trying to replicate, just like off telephone. It's like, oh, Essex told me this, so he told me this, so I don't even know if I'm doing it right. So I'm gonna have to watch this back and be like, oh, okay, now I'm doing it right.
Yeah, but it really comes, in the end, it comes down to that whole thing of like, there's certain things that it's not necessarily a rule, but it does help to know.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think that's. Like you just said, the stereo panning is very important too, and I think that's something maybe I need to look more into. That was a solid bit of advice too, Very.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even really like stereo panning as much as it is. So many sounds when you make them on your synth are, with whatever effects you're using, it will have a stereo spread. So it's so rare to have sounds that are actually mono, but like, when you're going through the mixing process, I think it is helpful to go through individual tracks and just hear what certain things, how much clearer things are when you mono things. It's just like experiment with it. And like sometimes you have to decide, this is going to be the wide sound. This sound, every sound has its purpose. It has its role that it's filling. And a lot of that role can be filled in the mono. Like if it's mono, it can still fill that role without getting souped up with all the other stereo sounds. Like, and to a certain extent, they can get in the way of each other.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. No. Fire, man. That's dude, solid bit of advice. Another one. Every fucking track, this dude's dropping gold. I'm literally gonna go back, clip all this, and just I'm gonna write it down in my little producing Bible too, bro. So hey, man, we got Elevate up next. So fuck yeah, man. Shout out Essex one more time. Let's get F's in the chat for Essex, or E's in the chat, bro. Fuck it. E's in the chat for Essex, bro. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Yo, let me actually run to the bathroom really quick.
Dude,
I'm gonna be like 2 seconds.
Do what you got to do, man.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, all right. F's in the chat. I needed to know some people were still in here, you know, and he needs to be shown that he's loved, because this dude is dropping fucking knowledge on us constantly. This is, I think, one of the best technical banters we've had in terms of feedback, in terms of track reciprocation, and yeah, I appreciate
yo,
all the
bad.
tracks. No, you're all good, man. Okay, so we got the Elevate tune right now. I'm going to bring back the studio. I forgot I wasn't in studio. Let's show the man Essex again. Here he is. Bing, bang, boom. Looking beautiful. Glowing. Looking 2 to 3 pounds lighter. He took a quick dumperoonie. All right, so we got Elevate music up in here. Let's go. Wow, we wow. Elevate, man. You're always coming through with the heat of 439 followers. What a nice little change. Nice little palette cleanse. Thank you for fucking linking us, dude. I highly suggest going and checking out Elevate. All his other tunes have different kinds of flares. They're all super diverse, and they include a lot of different instruments. This man last time said he was fucking singing on one of them. It was dope, man. So I highly suggest going to follow that SoundCloud link. And I don't have any words of advice for that one. That was a good vibe.
Yeah, I think that the vibe, it had a vibe, which is, I think, it's the most important thing. Like, it was a good mood. It made me feel good. I think it's all you can really say. I would say it was mixed well, which is why I'm able to say I can pretty clearly hear. I think if you brought the sub bass down by like maybe 3 or 4 decibels, when you limited it at the end, it would probably not take away any of the bass volume. Like, I think at this point it would just make your kick and snare cut through really a little bit more. I think your snare could be louder because there's just so much room in the song. Like, I think the snare was nice and the kick was nice. I think the kick I wouldn't touch. I'd say the snare I would boost a little bit, maybe just in the high frequencies. But I would just turn the snare up a little bit, turn the bass down a little bit, because it would just make everything more clear.
Okay. No, hell yeah, man. Those are solid words of advice, too, especially for, you come from a more instrumental background, too. That's why I kind of just steered away from saying something about that. It's like I don't really know. My mixing knowledge kind of ends and starts at the snare, the kick, and then everything else, So when, you coming in with some sub bass and the snare and this on an organic song, on an instrumental sounding song, it's pretty dope, dude. It's
Yeah, I think especially with those like organic instrumental songs, I think there's this tendency to think that the bass needs to be louder just because people love bass, but a lot of times especially with songs like that, the bass doesn't need to be that loud, especially when, like, at a certain point when you squash it with the limiter. At a certain point, if it's really loud, I think a good tip is, if you're on Ableton, you can put the spectrum analyzer, the spectrometer, I think it's called in Ableton. You can throw that on the master track, and if your sub bass is like way louder than everything else, then that's just something that's going to get clipped off once you limit it. So it's not really necessary. It doesn't necessarily have to be that loud. And I think, like, especially for a song like that, it's so airy and there's so much melody happening. The bass, when the bass is really loud like that, it's just going to make that other stuff a little less audible. And I don't think it's a major issue with this song in particular. I just think it's trying to come off the top of my head here, things that would, help improve it or, make it a little better.
No, dude, prime, man. Well, thank you, man. Thank you, Elevate, for another fucking week, another different vibe, yo. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate the fucking consistency. All right, so now we got 5 Star, another one who comes in all the time. Cammy B with the $50. Are you kidding? All right,
Damn.
for the ACLU of Minnesota, Boo Boo Gang, change needs to happen. Let's go, Cammy B. Let's go, Cammy B. All right, we got 5 Star. Let's go. Big bits, big donos. In the name of Essex, in the name of the ACLU, we're making change tonight, Girth Gang. Let's go, 5 Star. Let's go. Uh-oh. Needs. God. Wow, 5-star. 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 Shout out 5-star,
Goddamn.
man. Dude. Heater.
I got nothing to say on that one, bro. That was perfect. I loved it.
Perfect.
Send me the track, bro. I'll play that one out.
Yo, for real, man. 5-star has been doing that every week too. It's been some crazy shit of, just really heavy dubstep and then 808 bass, and I like this kind of wub at the end, like right here, just that Smith kind of, just dirt.
Yeah, I think everything like it's very like there's a lot of like reverb on the bass sounds, but it like fits so perfectly with the drums and stuff. It's like, yeah, I got no advice on that one. I love it. I thought that was sick.
Woo. All right, well, hell yeah, man, dude. 5-star, awesome track again, man. I highly suggest going and check him out. He's got 91 followers on SoundCloud, bro. So
5-star, I'm following you right now, bro.
let's go. That song "Mouth" is fire. The song "Shook" is fire. Dude's on a roll, bro. So hell yeah.
Wait, let me see that. Wait, pull up that SoundCloud so I can see what the name on there is.
Oh,
I'm looking up 5-star. I'm not.
It's 5-star and then literally like 5 stars, 5 asterisks.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I mean, maybe you need this 5-star "Mouth" free download. I'll just send it to you on Facebook too if you need.
Yeah, hit me up with that.
Yeah, bro. There you go. 5-star. You know what? Maybe the only critique would be make it easier to find yourself, because you need fucking more followers.
Yeah, man. You got to make it as easy as possible for everybody.
Yeah. And I honestly, when I noticed that 5-star was the name and you have 5 stars, it made sense, but it took me a second. It went right over my head for like at least 2 streams.
Bass by 5-star. That's what the link is. Gotcha.
Oh, okay. All right, so let's
Yeah,
see.
man. This shit is. I'm getting blown away by like how there's some really good people out there with like no following. How does this happen?
Dude, 91. That's ridiculous. That's what sacrilegious is what you call it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got another heavy hitter, another one that's frequently in stream. We got Kano up in here. Kano, you in here? I'm pretty sure I saw you in. We got a couple after that. We got Kowloon and Honeycomb too. Okay.
Oh, what up, Honeycomb?
Honeycomb. All right, Kano's in here. All right, let's run this one back. We're gonna start this one up. Shout out Kano. Let's get a hydration check too. It's been a while. Wet your whistles. Kano. Okay. Kano.
Damn, Kano.
Okay. That's it's a little bit more wild than you've been sending us the past couple weeks. Usually you've been I think you sent us like a what was it? Acoustic guitar last week, no? Or was that Kowloon? I'm pretty sure it was Kano though. He sent us a nice little down tempo John. And it's just nice range, yo. It's nice range. Coming out of Colorado. Dude,
Yeah, that one sounded great. I love that that sub had like the perfect layer, like perfect amount of saturation stuff. Like getting one of those deep subs that's like not too mid-rangey, but like also very like it's deep, but it's very, you know, it's got a good texture to it. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it had a lot of variety too, so you didn't get bored. I don't know, I just closed it, so I don't know how long it was, but yeah, it was it got a nice little variety to it. It says it's only been uploaded an hour ago, literally while we were on stream already, so I don't know if you might be fixing it live or what, but you know, you could tell the idea is coming, man. Like there's probably no outro right there, you know, there's no like set in stone intro. So dude, I'm looking forward to where it goes, you know. I'm looking forward to where this one goes. You fit everything.
Yeah, the sounds are there and the mixing is there. It sounds good. The mix is great.
Yeah. So send it to us when you're done, brother. All right. So now we got Jonas's and Third Eye Strange Time. You just got this one, right? I sent it over to you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Let's go, Jonas's. We got Honeycomb up next. Oh, excuse me. Yes, sir. Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow, that's John, who has actually booked me for a show in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. I did not know he makes music, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you for the fucking submission, John. I got no fucking words of advice for that one. That I loved the snare. Honestly, I love that, like, that echoey snare, that like dub snare. I don't know.
Wait a minute, is that John Coyne?
No. It's John. I want to say Men's. I don't want to butcher his last name. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
John.
I was gonna say North Carolina. Thinking of promoters, but yeah, no, that was sick. I got a soft spot in my heart for like the deeper stuff like that. It sounds like something that Trout would lose his shit over.
Well, maybe they could do a little cross promo. Future Pixels sermon. Whatever,
Yeah.
man. North and South, because I like that. I like the dub. You're probably flexing the sound systems down there, bro. And John, thanks for submitting the tune, man. That was gas.
Yeah, that was great. I got no advice on that one either. Okay. I think that's just sound. Yeah, it's one of those joints where it's like, yeah, just everything sounded where it needed to be. Like if you like that kind of music, then you're gonna love that. Like that is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a perfect execution of that.
Bass weight, baby. Bass weight.
Yeah.
Right. So we got Honeycomb. You said you do. Let me see. We got Honeycomb and then Kowloon. You said do this one or which one? Because we got the Recno one. We got the one with Recno. If you want that one.
I'd be down to hear a tune with Recno. That sounds cool.
All right, let's do that one. You know what? We don't even listen to whatever Honeycomb has to say. Hopefully he does say this one. Oh, he does say this one. All right, perfect. All right, let's go. We got this new one.
Wait, send it to me, bro. I
Okay.
didn't get the link.
Okay.
Come on now.
Oh man. Okay, let's go. And everybody use code MONEY20 on your first Fleshlight purchase. Money20. Our man is sponsored by Fleshlight. He's making big moves. All right. Here we go. Here's the two from Recno. I think Norbert, Nor, and Honeycomb. So here we go. Link us your tune, man. Link us your SoundCloud, baby. Woo!
That's great. That's so good.
Okay. Yo, Honeycomb, that was
I love
fucking awesome.
I love that, and I miss you, Honeycomb. We go, me and Honeycomb go way back. Actually, me and him made a song with like 2 years ago. Probably he came over to my house and like beatboxed a bunch of stuff for me, and we started working on a beat. I gotta find that. File. But yeah, Honeycomb's a great beatboxer. That was fun. That was cool.
Yo, awesome beatboxer. So multi-talented too. Go follow Honeycomb on Twitch too. He streams all the time and fucking kills.
Oh, he's saying Heads in Harmony. He's saying Heads in Harmony. That's the way I met Honeycomb is the funniest. My first Essex set ever. I got booked for this festival called Heads in Harmony up in Maine, and it was for like this silent disco, and it was like so unorganized. I like walked up from my set time to this tent that the silent disco was supposed to be at, and it was literally just an empty tent with like a table in it and a fucking single speaker, like a stage monitor, not hooked up to anything. I just walked in and was like, and Honeycomb was there with like two of his friends. They were just like smoking a blunt or something, and they were like, "Hey, bro, like, what are you doing in here?" I was like, "I was supposed to play a set in here, like, in like 10 minutes or something." And he ended up, him and his friends helped me like plug a studio monitor into my computer, and then I played a set for like him and his two friends, like out of one speaker.
What was this place called? Head in what?
Heads in Harmony.
Is it Maine?
Yeah, that was in Maine.
Oh my
I think
God.
they had a couple more after that. But yeah, obviously now defunct festival.
Bro, I
Yeah.
don't know what it is about Maine, but they just have a knack for just throwing festivals on like pop up in the back of fucking pickup trucks and on I've played some
I don't-
janky ass stages.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about Great North out of the back of that trailer truck.
Maine just has an affinity for janky stages, I guess, bro.
I remember that year too.
Oh man, not bad. I guess we get to play to some people, and look at the connections we made. Honeycomb 10 years later, whatever it was, bro. You know, holy shit, dog.
Yeah, man.
All right, so Honeycomb, dope shit, man. That was a fire track. I wouldn't even know where to begin critiquing fucking beatboxing, so I'm not gonna. That's why I just had to become you as the late night guest. I just had to become you in the late night band. I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed the little 3D model I made of your face, bro. I was gonna do some for your artwork, but I couldn't find like a good, like just face to just put a mouth on, you know.
I want to figure out how you did that audio reactive mouth. That's cool.
It's fucking Adobe. It's like an Adobe animator.
Yeah, After Effects.
No,
Animator.
It's a
I
separate
haven't
one.
used
yeah,
that
yeah.
one yet.
Separate one. Yeah. But it's all
I gotta
encompassing.
know.
Yeah, I'm using After Effects. You open a project through After Effects to this thing, so you make them in After Effects. Yeah, it's weird. You link them up, but if you
Yeah,
have
I saw the app on the suite. I've never thought to try it though.
Yeah, dude, it's super simple too. Super simple. Yeah, so you gave us enough fucking knowledge. I need to spit something back at you, bro, you know? Something you can
Yeah,
take
man.
home. Take home and write to your write in your little journal or something.
I gotta look this shit up.
Yeah, bro, super simple, man. I highly suggest it. You got so much artwork too. It would look great. You're a creative motherfucker. You do well with it. Okay, wait. We got fucking Phosphor in here, and I think one or two more. Yeah, we're looking at the end of this, baby. We're looking at the end of this. One more time. Let's get some F's in the chat for Essex because he has been dropping goddamn gold on us. Dropping gold. Ah, man. Okay. Let me message you this. We got Phosphor in here. Very psychedelic, man. Oh, that might not be the real link. There we go. Very psychedelic. 9 Inch Nails. I already know we're going to hit the smoke box. Hit the smoke box overlay for this one. So here we go. Phosphor. So much love for you, bro.
Ganymede. I think I got it.
Okay. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, word. Perfect. Let's start it up. Tendril.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's hard.
It reminds me of Supercilious kind of.
Oh, hey, what a comparison, man! What a name drop.
I heard a couple things. I heard a couple things. I think I could comment on.
Go off.
I think there's a lot of different parts to the song. I think honestly, it's a 6.5 minute song. I think it could be you could probably get all of those ideas across in more like 3 minutes. You could probably cut a lot of those parts in half, because I think a lot of the real major changes, I think you want to for me at least, I usually like to think that you want to get as many of the essential ideas that make up the song or define the song. You want to get all those ideas out as quick as possible with as little filler as possible. And I think there was, not to say that there was any filler, but I would say that there's a few times where I think the loop might have gone for a little longer than it should have. That's just my opinion though. And also I think, the snare, the snare could have punched through a lot more. I think that's one of the main things I think is maybe a stylistic choice, but I think just a more poppy, a snare that cracks through the mix a little more. I think if you just threw a bunch of different snares, you could find a cool one that cuts through the mix a little better. But other than that, I like the concept. I also think that piano sound, the piano sound came across to me as a little soupy, a little thin. I think you might have cut a little too much of the mid range out of those pianos, because some of them were really low notes, and I think to a certain extent it allowed the bass to shine through more. But I think also I think that piano sound, I think you might have cut a little too much out of the low range of those pianos.
Yeah, it's tough too, because if you listen to Phosphor and Tendrils, it's usually part of a bigger piece. He's a big conceptual piece guy. His EPs all flow into each other and stuff. And not to say that makes your the length opinion any more or less valid too, but maybe something to take in consideration too. But I definitely agree. I was gonna say that too, but I also came at it with the concept of him putting his vocals on it like he usually does, and it usually ends up like a 30-minute EP or something. He does a visual mix or something. So maybe I came into it with that perspective of knowing you each week and seeing what you come at. And, a fresh perspective is good too. But one of the things I was going to say was maybe shorten it a little bit too. But that also comes after the vocals. Who knows what the vocals are going to say, if they need that long or whatever. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing it once
yeah,
it has that.
I think if vocals were added or another element was added, that would make a big difference, because I think the main thing I was getting at by saying it was really long is that if it's going I think there was just parts where I felt like it was repeating itself when it didn't need to. It was I heard the part and then it played that part again, and I was all right.
True.
It's kind of it's a Tool slash it's almost like a progressive rock thing where it's it goes long because it sets the atmosphere. But I think the atmosphere was already set to a point where it's it didn't necessarily need to keep going.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, yeah, man, we appreciate the fucking the perspective, dude. All right. So we got this is all subjective too, man. This is your stylistic choices. We appreciate you sending them in, and we appreciate Essex's opinion, Sam's fucking time. It's very valuable, and we got a couple more songs, and then we're gonna let the man go. Man's been fucking dropping bombs on us. Do you got this one? It's from Kowloon.
Yep. Yeah, I got it.
Deemster Diving with Kowloon. All right. Let's go, guys. Big shout-outs to everyone involved today.
All these divers can do is their best.
Nothing more he can do now.
No.
Just got to wait and see.
That's right. The same with Law. He's done all he can.
I thought there was an ad.
Coaches holding their breaths.
It's just the very fact, you see, that you seem to be the victims of the thing you don't understand, and that you seem to conclude your life every time in a wipeout or death. is just exactly that opposite condition to what you call being alive that allows you to be alive. The pattern keeps going. Transform yourself. Do you have any control over being conscious? You know how to do it? Sure you know how to do it. But you can't put it into words and explain how to do it. But we don't realize it. Just as we know how to do this, we know equally well how to turn the sun into light, how to blue the sky, how to blow the wind, how to wave the ocean.
Kowloon. I fucking love it. I always love your tunes, man. They come in so, they're always like that. They're cinematic. They got their own flair to it. Bassy. I don't even know what to kind of call that genre. But I love it. I'll say that.
Damn, man. I'm impressed. That was awesome. I fucking love that.
Yeah, the cinematic aspects of it, it's simplistic at times, and then it's complex when it needs to be. It takes, it's very cinematic. So, dude, Kowloon with 374 followers, please go follow this man. Please, Kowloon.
Yeah, that's great.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, I got nothing to say. I got nothing but please send me that so I could maybe drop it in a track or something. Drop it in a mix.
Yeah. Hey, man, you got to follow for me. Yeah, it's I've got a soft spot for those like very dramatic melodies and stuff. That stuff just tugs at my heartstrings. I can't even help it. I love it.
Dude, for real. It was done very tastefully too, man. Done very tastefully. So it was short and sweet too. It kept us like, all right, maybe we should run that back almost. Maybe we should run that back.
That's the thing. That's the kind of thing. It's like I feel like certain songs like that. It's like it doesn't require a second drop. It's like the idea is the whole point of a song is you want to get an idea across. Once the idea's across, you call it a day, and you just like that's it. Like.
Yeah.
I think that song was everything it needed to be, and it just ended where it needed to end. It was good, well put together. I'm impressed. I liked it.
Chef's kisses, man. Chef's kisses. All right, so we got Lethal up next. Yeah. Did I send you this
one?
Yep,
I got it.
Lethal Sacred. All right, and then we got fucking Ken B, Mayor of CT. Lethal Bacon. Here we go. Here we go. Wow. Okay. So.
Damn, man, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I got some very Charles the First vibes from that one.
Yeah. It's in and out of the filthiness and beautiful vibe. You know, I liked it.
Yeah.
So
I thought it sounded good. I mean, honestly, I think the kick sounded like it might have been a little bit loud. But other than that, like, I don't really have too much. I don't really have too much to critique on it. Like, it sounded good to me.
Yeah. It doesn't even seem like it has an ending really, so I wouldn't even say there was so much emphasis put on like a mix down side of it, you know? Like if there's not even an outro, it just kind of ended. I feel like from one day ago this might be a brand new idea, and if that's the case, dude, I would say you're on. This is one of them. This is one of those ones that, you know, it's one of those quick ideas that comes out quick and you're happy with, bro. Yes, that's always a sign of a good tune.
Yeah, I mean, if like, obviously, I think you know, it could use a little bit of structuring, like in the intro and outro. But other than that, like, if you could mix out of that, fucking call it a day.
Yeah, no, for real, man. That's that'd be fucking huge. All right, we got Deem Check and Ken B, Dirty Waters. We didn't do this one, did we? No, okay. All right, so we got the last two. I'm telling you, last two. We got to make some noise for Essex one more time. This man has gone 2 hours and 45 minutes. What a fucking champion. Only peed once.
Damn.
Yeah, this guy helping raise money for the ALSU.
Yeah,
ALSU,
time
holy
flies. Time flies when you're raising funds.
God, I don't even know where we're putting them right now. Raising so many funds, I don't even know where to put them. But I was looking up.
Yeah, send me that new link. I don't think I got the new one.
Okay.
The last one I got was the Letho.
Yes, sir. Here we go. Facebook's just a little slow. Okay. That should be it. Dem check, you in here, brother? Really would love to hear what he had to say, brother. Yo, I'm telling you, it's the video on demand with our reaction will be up like as soon as this is done too. It was the first one as soon as we stopped the interview section, and there was a bunch of mixed down advice. Like we took our sweet time with that. I swear, the first tracks we were slow and steady with the advice. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Okay, all right. So we got Dem check here. Let's go.
I'm gonna be maybe like 30 seconds behind you. I got a SoundCloud ad.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gen Chat, no, I'm sorry. I'm not just telling you to go watch the video just because you know, it helps boost the stats or whatever. That could mean jack shit to me. But I just want you to see that there was genuine reactions there. There was you know, timely advice given too. You know. So hell yeah, man. We're on Dem check. Yeah, and link us your SoundCloud because we didn't have that. the light? Okay. All right, Demcheck. Link us your SoundCloud, man. Definitely hit us with that link.
Damn, boy.
5 minutes of just like just underground bunker kind of filth.
Yeah, that shit was nuts. I think for me, it's like I think the same thing I said before to the other track we were talking about that was that long. I think like it's a solid track. Like I fucks with it really hard. I think it could be I think it could be shorter though. I think there's a lot of time in that track that it's reiterating an idea that's happened already, and I think that's it's a good idea, and I like the song. I think it could be like 2 minutes shorter though.
Yeah, it does. You could even maybe save some of those bass sounds for another tune or some shit. Like it don't all necessarily need to be slammed in there too. But I totally agree.
There's so much going on. Like there's so much going on for so long. I think it's one of those things where it's like almost overwhelming how long it's happening for.
Yeah, and I love the mashing of ideas. Like right over here, there's like an orchestra kind of, if it was just maybe like the mashing of the two worlds, like I like that too. It's a nice refreshing blend. Maybe that could have taken up a little bit more of the tune.
Yeah, I almost think you could even like incorporate some of that orchestral stuff, because I thought that really was like a breath of fresh air during the track. I think like even including some cuts of that into the drop just to give it a little atmosphere would be nice too.
Yeah, no, perfect. And I see it's out now, so I mean, just for future reference or whatever, keep blending those two worlds, man. It was a good, nice.
Oh, if it's out there, yeah, never mind. Just leave. Yeah,
just keep.
Ignore everything I said. It's perfect. Don't overthink it. You're good.
Yeah, hey, if you do a VIP or some shit, you never know, man. But hey, thanks for sending that to us. Appreciate the tune. Demcheck, thank you for the bits and the sub, my man. Frictus, thank you for the bits. Everybody, we're on our last tune of the fucking night. One more time, make some noise for Essex. Go follow him over here. Go Twitch follow. Make sure to follow him on Twitch. The man's going to be streaming. He's very talented. He dropped oodles of fucking knowledge on us today. Oodles. You don't hear me saying that word often. Oodles.
Yeah, oodles are noodles.
Plentiful amounts of knowledge, and I'm hyped to re-upload this one on YouTube, and for anybody who goes back and watches this, because I'm sure you're gonna get something from something that came out of this man's mouth right over here. So, all right, last but not least, we got Ken B up in the motherfucking chat. Ken B, mayor of CT.
Ken B over
I
here.
need to
Send me that
you.
link, bro.
Yep, I need to link you. Keeping them, they're so good. I've been keeping them for myself. That's what I'm doing. These things, bro. We've got some crazy good submissions today, man. Thank everybody. Okay, Ken B, let's go. Dirty Waters. Ooh-wee. Ken B. All right. Bro. I loved it. It was a nice vibe.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe those chords could come down in volume a little bit, but I think it's hard to say. Maybe not come down in volume as much as maybe cut the highs out a little bit, because they were very when you have really phasey sounds like that, it can really it just really adds a lot of shit to the high frequencies that you can tame them a lot more sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wait, you lagged out a little bit at the end there.
I just think the high frequencies of those phasey chords could be tamed a little bit, but it's not that's I'm just nitpicking here, honestly.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's why he sent it in. He said he just finished it in time. He didn't get to do much, but I think having this kind of feedback is what he might be looking for. So in the mix, I don't know if you have anything on the master channel, but I think the bass is hitting perfectly. That 808 is hitting right where it needs to in the mix. Yeah,
I really liked that that staggery percussive sounds I think that I would even incorporate that into more parts of the song, even
the rim shotty kind of thing, like that.
That melody there.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite part of the whole song, honestly.
Dude, for real. I think it accompanies that bass so well. They both sit so perfectly in the mix, and I think that snare is it's fitting perfectly in there too. Maybe it could be bumped up a little bit.
I even think a part of the song that was just that as a drop, with more minimal shit, that I think holds my attention to the point where it's like I would fucks with that like as its own part, where it's just like super minimal, like nothing but that and a bass and like a kick and snare going like
Yeah.
that could be a drop in itself.
Yeah, that's kind of like a you and Of the Trees too, with a little bit of vocal over it too, maybe like a little like like he kind of got a tease of the vocal. It's like it's kind of got the Of the Trees like bounce too that he got. You know, usually he has little vocal chops in there too, and it has hints of that in there. You know, but
Yeah, I feel like it'd be almost be cool to like have all those elements build up really, like, because it's like adding more and more space and like width and all the stuff to it. I think it'd be cool to have all that build up and then have it drop into just like just that part with like that shit. Like I think that is like it's almost like a drop it like it's hot kind of thing where it's like it's a solid sound, so it's like have that be like the focus is kind of cool.
Yeah, it carries its own weight too, and there's not a lot of things that you are just, especially nowadays where we're pushing the sound barriers, like every single song, or at least we try to. There's not a lot of sounds that do catch your ear and like this sounds good on its own, you know. And sometimes it's just the 808 and whatever that little thing, that little roll. So it was dope. I honestly like it. It's vibey for sure. It's vibey.
I think it's also one of those things. It's like you make these sounds out of like when you're working on sounds and a song, like you kind of become blind to the strongest elements because you just add stuff and you're like, all right, now it's a little better. Now it's a little better. Sometimes it's helpful to go back and be like, what happens if I just take everything out of this part and like have it just be like the strongest elements, like are like the core elements by themselves. And sometimes that's like the most drastic and like sometimes that will like make the song, you know. Sometimes taking things out is more effective than adding more things. Most of the time that ends up being the case, I think.
I feel like I thought I was alone in that production wise. I felt like, you know, you get a little self-deprecating. I'm like, fuck, everybody goes into this and has an idea of what they want to do, and I'm over here like constantly adding things and then winding up taking them out, and it's always the simpler versions of my tunes that I wind up liking and are better. You know, it's when
it's like I
overwork
think
them.
yeah, I think Ill Gates has like a great concept on this where I think he calls it like mud pies or something, where it's like you build this thing of like all of these like so many different layers that all fit over each other, and it's almost like crowded. But then what you do is you take all those elements and you just split them up into like you kind of like choose variations of those different layers that fit together the best, and those becomes the different sections of your songs.
True. So I mean, I guess I'm not alone in working that way, huh? It's like do you work, do you have an idea and then get to it, or do you just do the mud pie?
No, never. I never like go into a song with an idea, because when I do that, like 100% of the time, I'm just disappointed that I didn't get that idea. What I always do is I just like make a thing. Like I'll always just go in and be like, I'm just gonna make a bass sound today, and I'll make a bass sound, and then next thing you know, it's kind of just like, oh, let's hear what it sounds like over this, and then like, you know, if you don't let the process lead, like I think the most important thing is instead of being led by inspiration that may never come, you just sit down and work and you let the process lead you. And sometimes it's just like you surprise yourself. It's like happy accidents.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times if I do have an idea and I execute it, I'll get it exactly the way I wanted it to sound, and then I'll be like, oh, it sounded cooler in my head. So like most of the time it's like you really just have to surprise yourself if you want to keep it interesting.
Well, I think that's really refreshing to hear, especially from somebody like you who is like, I don't know if you're classically trained or whatnot, but you come off as like a very like fluent in the language of music, you know. So for somebody to be like, oh, maybe it's more experimental, I think it might help a lot of other people who do have the same approach instead of like a more musical approach to this kind of thing. Because you see someone like Mr. Bill and everything's calculated, everything's like, I'm gonna make this today, and I feel like he does do that, you know.
Right. Well, I think the real thing is like the thing that makes music appealing and the thing that makes it catch your ear is it like it's surprising. It catches you off guard. And if you're not surprising yourself, then you're not having fun. You're not enjoying it as much as you should, you know?
Yeah. No, definitely. Like and that's the whole thing. I think people feel the fun in things, or they feel the emotion. It doesn't have to be fun because there's sad shit and whatever, you know, but they feel the emotion that you put into it. And if there's a disconnect, I think people could feel that too, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a true believer in the fact that, like, whether it's visual art or music, like, whatever kind of art it is, any kind of art, it's like, I think that, like, the intention, or maybe not necessarily the intention that you put into it, but, like, the feeling that you have making it, like, I think when you're making something and you're, like, really enjoying it and you're like, oh shit, like, this is something special, that, like, shows through. Like, it's not something that you can plan for, but it's something that you know when it's there.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's that feeling, you know? It's that fucking feeling. And sometimes maybe that's why over analyzing songs and stuff is just the worst thing you could do. Even for if you're judging somebody else's song, you're like, I don't know, man. Who's to say that that's not, you know, that's not the banger, because they put their heart and soul into it, and people feel that. So I don't know. Sometimes it's just this whole thing being on the other end of it has, like, tainted my view towards music in a way, but in a way it's also made me appreciate it in a lot different of a sense.
Right. Well, I think that's one of the beautiful things about music, is that it's one of those things that has no rules. So it's like, even if, for example, like, a lot of the mixing advice that I've given tonight, where I'm like, oh, this could be better, this could be better, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be, like, a more successful song than I've ever made my whole life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there is no rule, and there is no, like, right or wrong. Like, if it hits, it hits. And that's just, like, the beautiful thing about art, is that, like, it can be, well, it can be beautiful, and it can be, like, crippling in a certain way, where it's like, you don't know if you're onto something. All you can do is just trust your gut and trust your own, like, feeling about it. And it's like, if you're like, I really believe in this, then there's a chance that you might have your heart broken and it might not do shit and no one might like it. There's also a chance it might do great. Like,
Yeah.
that's really that's the gamble. You're just, like, doing it because you love it, and then hopefully people like it, and if they don't, whatever.
Yeah, and hey man, I think you're a fucking, like, a great figurehead of that movement too. You know, you've been making music for so long in a lot of different facets of the music scene. You seem to even be branching outside the music scene too, into art and into, like, the visuals, you know, like, and I don't think people are sleeping on that, you know? I mean, a lot of people are. You should be fucking, whew, God, you don't, I shouldn't be able to book you on this show. Let's just say that. All right. But,
Hey man, I'm just enjoying having somebody to talk to, something to do. It's all fun.
Hey.
I honestly, man, like, it's I don't think it's really just, like, I do it because I love it, and I appreciate that people even, like, recognize any kind of merit or value in it. That's means a lot to me. But, like, in the end, I'd probably do it no matter what. It's just it's the kind of thing where it's like, you do it for fun, and if you're having fun doing it, then there's a good chance that other people are going to have fun listening to it too, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think your movement, you know, says that and more too. It says, like, a lot of things. You express a lot of different emotions with your tunes. It hits a whole bunch of different facets of life, you know, especially when you whip out that fucking axe, bro. Woo. Pigeon Toes and the one with Wax Future, bro. Honestly, some of my favorite tunes, man. I'm constantly dropping you in the set. I'm always looking forward to hearing more of your shit, bro. And man, I really appreciate you fucking being on this. I don't want to keep you. I would love to keep you more, but I feel like we've hit so many fucking good topics. We've ended off on a great, like, little sentimental meaning of music, and you've given us, like, way more technical tips than we could take in today. I feel like I'm gonna have to go back and study this one, bro.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.
Hey, dude, my pleasure. Honestly, everyone go check out fucking Essex. This man is a genius, visually, musically. I'm sure he'll be doing big things in the future. Just keep an eye on him. We got the Essex command, so follow him on any which fucking social media platform you'd like. And one more time, everybody, let's make some noise for our fucking guest, Essex.
Yeah, thanks, man. Love y'all. Thank you for having me on the show.
Dude,
I appreciate it.
My pleasure, honestly. My fucking pleasure. Have a great night, man. Stay safe out there. Say what up to Joshua. We appreciate
Yeah,
you,
we'll
dog.
do, man. All right.
Peace,
Thanks for having
man.
me, man.
Peace.
Later.
Ah, God, what a fucking swell fucking fella. All right, let's see what the people have to say. Let's see what the people have to say. Tough crowd. Tough fucking crowd over here.